We're at the 2022 Kansas City Open December Youth Adult Doubles Tournament, and here in Division I, the fourth and final spot in the stepladder finals has not yet been decided. We're about to have a roll-off to determine who makes the stepladder in that final spot. Now, the adult partners sit during the roll-off. Only the youth partners will bowl here. Colby Lovegren is looking to keep his streak alive of making the stepladder finals in every Division I episode of Prodigy Bowlers Tour since our move to Kansas City. But he first has to get past Carson Beach in this 9th and 10th frame roll-off. Colby will lead off. Oh, weak 10, but no! He gets the messenger to take it out. And you know he loved that one. Yep. So now Carson Beach. You saw Carson make his first appearance on Prodigy Bowlers Tour back in September. He lost the opening match that day to Davis Best. He labels the pocket that time. He has really been working on his game, and he has looked very sharp today. But he is bowling against the player who has been just about unstoppable. Colby Lovegren has made every telecast we've done of Division I on Prodigy Bowlers Tour since we moved to Kansas City, dating back to the KCO Invitational in June, when Colby threw the very first ball on Prodigy Bowlers Tour here in the Kansas City area. Well, that's 2 in a row. Carson just buried him right in the hole. I tell you what, if he's nervous at all, he sure isn't showing it. He looks to me like he's eager to get up there and throw another one. They will bowl these 2 frames, and if it ends in a tie once again, they'll rinse and repeat, start over and go again, and we'll keep repeating it till we break this tie and someone grabs that number 4 spot in the stepladder. Oh, and Carson returns that messenger to Colby. And that's 3 in a row. One more for a perfect score of 60 in this 9th and 10th frame roll-off. One of these 2 players will grab the 4 seed with their partner in the KCO December Youth Adult Doubles Tournament here in Division I. Four balls, 4 strikes. Good job, bud. So Carson will sit down and wait to see what Colby can do. He knows he can't be beat in this roll-off. Colby needs 3 strikes in the 10th to tie and force a double roll-off. If Colby fails to strike on any of these next 3 shots, Carson advances to the stepladder with his partner. And you could tell by the crowd reaction, there were pins left standing. Colby Lovegren's streak is snapped. It's Carson Beach who has advanced with his partner to the stepladder finals here at the KCO Youth Adult Doubles Tournament. Celebrating junior bowling, elevating junior bowlers. Prodigy Bowlers Tour welcomes you to episode 136, the 2022 Kansas City Open December Youth Adult Doubles Tournament, Division I Championship Round. Today, 4 doubles teams will meet in a series of matches where the winners will keep advancing as long as they keep winning. You just watched Carson Beach win a roll-off to secure the fourth and final seed in the stepladder for him and his adult partner, Tony Rucker. They'll face the team of P.J. Dokalis and his adult partner, Alan Dierking, who works in the pro shop here at Olathe Lanes East. The winners of that match will take on our two seeds, Landon Stoddard, who you saw on our November show, and his dad, Kyle, of Higginsville, Missouri. And the winners of that semifinal match will bowl for the championship against Rhett Ryman and Wes Edwards, our tournament leaders. Rhett is making his first appearance on Prodigy today. One of those teams will sign the coveted trophy pin on Prodigy Bowlers Tour. However you mark this festive season, I wish you a Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy Festivus for the rest of us, or if you prefer, just the good old standby Happy Toyota-thon. Whatever your preference, I hope your chestnuts are roasting on an open fire and Jack Frost is nipping at your nose, because here at Olathe Lanes East, the action for our four teams in the championship round has been heating up since the A squad laced up their bowling shoes first thing this morning. We come to you today from Olathe Lanes East in Olathe, Kansas, for the first of two youth-adult tournaments on the Kansas City Open's calendar this season, the second one coming in March. If you're a regular viewer of Prodigy Bowlers Tour, by now you know that the youth bowlers in Division I at the Kansas City Open bowl scratch. And that's true at the youth-adult doubles tournament as well. But the adult partners of the youth bowlers in all 5 divisions at this event do get handicap if they're eligible. The grown-ups get 90% of the difference between their average and 220. So all but one of our adults in the field today are getting pins, with Wes Edwards, who's in the 1 spot with Rhett Ryman, the lone exception. Let's get our opening match started. Our number 4 seeds, Carson Beach and Tony Rucker. Tony's the father of one of Carson's buddies. They're bowling our number 3 qualifiers, P.J. Dokalis and Alan Dierking. We always tell the players to meet at the ball return, shake hands, and come out bowling. We're bowling league style, with each team starting on one lane, and then they'll switch lanes each frame. The adult partner will lead off. The youth partner will bowl anchor in each of these matches. And here is P.J. Dokalis' partner, Alan Dierking. What a way to start with a 4 count right through the nose. The 3, 4, 6, 7, 9, 10. We've only seen that once on Prodigy, and it was made by Gilbert Kang. And Tony Rucker starts by tripping the 4-9 and giving thanks to the bowling gods. Well, you got to do that. Pretty good try at it. Alan makes sure to get the count, but that is an open frame, and as you can see, we are adding the players' handicap into their score in the very first frame. So Alan with 8 out in the first, added to 34, gives him 42 in the first. Carson shreds the rack to start. And now P.J. Dokalis, a couple of thirds this year at the KCO. And he rips the rack to begin. So 3 out of our 4 bowlers begin with strikes. And now they will switch lanes for the second frame. You see the number at the bottom of the screen, +5, with the arrow pointing to the left. That's your indication that the team on the left side of our score sheet, that's the team of Alan Dierking and P.J. Dokalis, they lead by 5 pins. And Alan, going high once again, this time leaves a decidedly more makeable spare. Tony, a smooth release and another solid strike. Boy, that's about as good as you can do it right there. A double to begin as Allen goes for his spare. Nothing to it. The 3-pin goes down, so Allen gets his first mark of the game and he can breathe easy. Carson flirting with disaster there. You've got to take a second look at it, but that is a strike, and both Tony and Carson with doubles. And PJ with a double as well. So Allen is the odd man out so far, but I'm sure he is going to find the line. 59-year-old pro shop operator. Well, he was a pro shop operator. He had his own pro shop. Now he works in the pro shop here at Olathe Lanes East, drilling lots of bowling balls. Well, he ripped the 5 that time, but leaves a swishing 7. And Tony got that one a little wider than the other ones he had thrown, and leaves a shaker 8. That could have been a short count, so he got a little fortunate in crumbling out the bucket. And another spare for Mr. Deer King. We'll get this pair of lanes measured pretty soon. And there's the first spare of the game for Tony Rucker. But both of our youth bowlers are perfect so far. And another ripper. PJ looks like he is loose and ready to rock and roll. Well, that one a little bit too thin to crumble out the entire bucket. He leaves the 2-5, and in so doing, it looks like he might have moved that 5 a little bit to the right, spreading the 2 pins slightly, making the spare a little more choppable. The action you see to our right on lanes 3 and 4, that's Division 2. And we'll tell you how their stepladder played out at the end of the show. No problem for Carson. That's a spare. And the team of Alan Dierking and PJ Dokelis maintain a 7-pin lead. Heading to the 4th frame. And look at Tony Rucker, just a smooth release. He just rolls that ball off his fingers, and look at the action he gets. Rips the rack. Well, Allen's just having a hard time staying off the nose. He has an 848 to his credit, so I'm sure he knows how to make the adjustment and what adjustment to make. And there's another strike for Carson. He looks like he is falling off balance on almost every shot. That's something I might want to keep an eye on here. There's another spare for Allen. When the strikes are slow to come, just keep filling your frames. Those strikes will come around eventually. It's a tight match, just 5 pins separating these two teams. Although PJ can extend that lead to 15 if he can put another strike up on the board here in the 4th frame. And all he has done so far is throw strikes. And any questions about that one? No doubt about it. Take another look at that one. P.J. Douglas, nice, smooth one-hander. Very simple game. Not many moving parts. So less to go wrong. And not surprisingly, he is very consistent. And you will see his name up high on the leaderboard almost every month. Another one that got away a little bit from Tony on the right lane. Comes up thin. He leaves the 2-5. And another pulled shot by Allen. I'm not sure what's going on there for him. I wouldn't be so presumptuous to try to diagnose anything because I'm not that familiar with his game. There's a spare for Tony to keep the heat on. Big loft and a big spare. So Allen still searching for his first strike of the game. As Carson going for a double here on the right lane. Looked like he sent that one a little wider than the others, and it came back stronger. A little too high, leaves the 4. PJ going for a 5-bagger. And he is just wired on this pair. That is 3 rippers on the left lane. Oh my. Well, you can't do that. Let an easy single pin spare get away. Here's that ripper that PJ threw just a moment ago. He hits in the half pocket. Now watch the 5-pin. It's going to go over and, well, half the rack went over there and took out the 7-pin, which had no chance at all to survive that onslaught. And that's the ripper. Now Tony Rucker back up on lane 1. And there's a little ripper too. A little 13-mile-an-hour ripper. Didn't know you could throw those. There's what Allen's been looking for. Finally moved far enough left. Let's take another look at it. Break point's going to be out at about 8. And that was still kind of crowding the head pin, but he's in the ballpark now. Uh-oh. Carson lets one get away from him wide, and now he's faced with the 2-4-10. PJ halfway home, opening with a 6-bagger. Thank you very much. Carson goes for the split boldly, but a little wide with the shot. And gets 8 out. Another open frame, and now the team of Alan Dierking and P.J. Douglas have opened up a huge 57-pin lead as we head down the home stretch. 7th frame, Allen up on the left lane. Let's see if he can take advantage of that strike he threw in the 6th and put a double on the board and extend the lead. Still high. Breaks up the split, though, and leaves just the 4-7. Well, maybe a little overcorrection that time. The last 2 balls Tony threw on that right lane were wide right. He pulled this one. He got away with it, caught a Brooklyn, and that cuts the lead to just 47. Oh, that ball actually touched the 4-pin. Did you see it wiggling? Oh, man. And there's a nice strike by Carson Beach. And we'll have to take another look at that one. This will get out to about 7 at the break point, and down they go. Just like you'd draw it up. Another ripper on the left lane. P.J. Douglas opens with 7 in a row. Hello. Watch this one. Over about 10 at the arrows, out to about 6 or 7. Light pocket, and see you later. Wow. All right, the lead is 45. Tony with a couple of strikes up. And that strike will help carve into the lead just a bit. It's now 35. Well, that was a pretty good ball there. Just came in fractionally high. Maybe move one more board to the left with his feet. I think maybe another board to the left with his eyes might do the trick. The bowling on the house shot. They run the lanes first thing in the morning for the qualifying, and then they don't run them again. So they're bowling on the burn, and boy, he just barely got that 4-pin. I mean, by the hair on his chinny chin chin. There's another strike by Carson, and that cuts into the lead further. It's now 25. As PJ going for the 8th strike in a row. But his streak is stopped at 7 as he gets 7 and leaves the 2-4-5. Here's that spare that Allen just barely got. He will turn around. He didn't even see it. He thought to himself, hey, I got that. And then he turns around because he didn't hear the ball hit the pin. And now he was told it was a close call, but a spare nonetheless. PJ covers the 2-4-5. So now we've got a much closer match than we had just a couple of frames earlier. 22 pins in a doubles match is nothing. So they're waiting on the fellow here on lane 3 to go. That's Division 2 over there to the right on lanes 3 and 4. We'll update you on how their stepladder played out when we get to the end of the show today. Tony going for another strike. And he mixes them up. And now the lead is just 12. My, how things have changed. And another one a little high. I know that's frustrating. Sometimes you just say to yourself, you know, how far do I have to move? Seems like everywhere I move, everywhere I throw it, it just keeps going high. Ten pin for Carson. He missed that same spare on that same lane 2 frames earlier. He makes sure of it this time and preserves their 11-pin lead. Carson takes care of his 10-pin, And now PJ would like to get right back up on the horse and ride it some more and get another strike. Just like that. Big foundation strike for PJ as the lead is just 11 now. And Tony Rucker will get up in the 10th, working on a 4-bagger. He can throw a strike here and cut the lead to just 1 pin. And that's exactly what he does. Whoa, Nelly. We got us a match now, I should say. So smooth over the 3rd arrow, out to about 7, and it's 10 back. Oh, man. He went with a little extra speed that time to try to get that ball to hold the line. It nearly did, but stone 7. And what a time for that, man. That's like a punch to the gut. This match is all even. And with that strike, Tony Rucker grabs the lead for his team. My, my. It's a spare for Allen. So both of the adult players down to their fill ball. This is going to fall into the hands of the youth bowlers to decide it. There's 9 for Tony, and I imagine if you had told Carson Beach your partner's going to shoot 275, he'd have said, I'll take it. Allen gets 8, so he finishes with 200. That means that Carson Beach will take an 11-pin lead into the 10th frame. But remember, P.J. Douglas has a strike working. Carson says, I got your strike right here. And that was huge because it changes the dynamics here. All of a sudden, this is a must-strike situation for P.J. If he doesn't strike here, his team loses. You have got to be kidding me. That means Tony Rucker and Carson Beach have won the match. And P.J. Douglas has got to be thinking to himself, I started with a 7-bagger. What have I got to do to win? And Carson leaves the Greek church, and it's not going to matter. Well, this was not the ending I would have predicted. Wow, what a turn of events. A big turnaround for Tony and Carson, and they have stolen victory from the jaws of defeat in a phenomenal performance. Carson will have a little fun here going for the Greek church. It really doesn't matter what he does. He takes the count. And so the final tally is 466 to 443. Tony Rucker and Carson Beach have come back from the dead to defeat Alan Dierking and P.J. Douglas. And now they will face Landon and Kyle Stoddard in our next match right after this. Boy, that's a tough loss for PJ and Allen to take. PJ started with a 7-bagger out of the gate, but in the end it wasn't quite enough, as Tony nearly matched him, closing with a 6-bagger and a 9-count, en route to tossing a cool little 275 game. Everybody bowled well in that match. I talked to PJ and Alan after it was over, and Alan admitted he didn't feel like he gave PJ much help. But really, both teams had 1 or 2 missed spares. It just came down to 1 or 2 strikes here and there. But it's Carson Beach and Tony Rucker who have advanced to match 2, where they'll now face Landon and Kyle Stoddard. Landon made our Division I show in November from Royal Crest Lanes in Lawrence, Kansas, and he's back once again, this time with his dad as his partner, to try and make a run at the title. When you saw Landon Stoddard on our November Division I show, that was the first time he'd bowled Division I at the Kansas City Open. He had previously been bowling Division II, but he got re-rated up to Division I following his 5th place finish in Division II in October when we were at Gladstone. The higher qualifying team has the choice of starting lanes. Kyle and Landon have opted to start on the left lane, so we get our first look now at Kyle Stoddard, the first adult to ever bowl two-handed on Prodigy Bowlers Tour. Goes high, leaves the 6. Tony hitting a little light, and that ball was DOA. Leaving the 4-5 baby split. Got to fit the ball right between them. There's not a lot of miss area on this. As you can see, there's a 30-pin handicap differential. Kyle's getting 47, Tony is getting 17. So you see that reflected in the lead at the bottom of the screen. Kyle takes care of his spare. Tony's got a little tougher one here. Had the right idea, but it just hooked a little too much, and he misses the 5-pin. So an open to start, and the Stoddard's lead grows. But Landon's ball sails past the head pin, and he leaves the tricky 1-2-8. Now Carson with his opening toss on the right lane. Boy, he got that one way out and misses the head pin. There's a conversion of the 1-2-8, and Carson's going to want to throw his much the same way. This is the 1-2-8 with company. The 4 pins tagging along for the ride. And that is an excellent conversion of the 1-2-4-8. So 3 spares and an open to begin match 2 here at the KCO December Youth Adult Doubles Tournament, Division I Championship Round. Kyle Stoddard says he likes to ride motorcycles. He is a U.S. Air Force veteran, having served from 2004 to 2008. And we thank you for your service, sir. Boom. That's what you like to see if you're one of the Stoddards. Tony Rucker's pretty satisfied with that one, I would think. Man, he's smooth. Now Landon Stoddard up on lane 2. And another one sails wide on him. Now he's got the washout. Carson, ring 10. Ouch. That 3-pin was a little off spot. I don't know if I would have shot at that rack. Tight pocket. Too much head pin on that spare attempt, so an open for Landon in the second. And that'll cut into their lead. Oh, but Carson gives it right back with an open of his own. So the difference is 38 pins. It started as 30 pins differential. So the team of Stoddard and Stoddard, sounds like a law firm to me, they have gained 8 pins along the way. Whoa! He throws a rocket to the pocket, doesn't he? That's a double. And Stoddard and Stoddard moves out ahead by 48 pins. Tony Rucker with a 13-mile-an-hour fastball. There's what Landon's looking for, that light shaker, and he gets it to go for his first strike of the match. Watch this. Big high backswing. Big loft over about 13 at the arrows out to about 9. And he hits the light pocket and shakes them all out. And Carson gets a little too much juice on that one, and it overhooks through the nose. But an easy spare, the 3-pin. And he's ready to go. He doesn't want to wait for the pin setter. Maybe a little too eager. He looked like he was ready to throw it before that pin setter set that pin back down. This is not a race. Take your time. "49-pin lead by Kyle and Landon. And half their shots so far have been strikes. Kyle would like to up that percentage a little bit right here. But he comes in a little thin, leaves the 2-4-5, so he's got some work left. Tony Rucker looking to build on that double. And he gets him to go down. That was another one of those half rippers. You wouldn't think a half-pocket hit throwing it that slow could shred the rack, but it's kind of a slow-motion shredder. Oh! Kyle hooks past the 2-pin, sends it in front of the 5, and that's an unforced error there. And another one that's just out where the elephants go to die. That's what we called it in golf. When I would hit my tee shot into the wilderness, somebody would say, that's out where the elephants go to die. A little thin. Sends a head pin in front of the 2. But an easy spare. There you go. That's how you make a tough spare, the washout. Carson's got to be pretty happy with that. Landon will take care of that easy spare conversion of the 2-pin. Here's another look at that conversion by Carson of the washout. He throws his normal strike ball at this. Just moves his feet to the right a little. Gets it off the wall. Whoa. Oh man, I didn't think that one was coming back. Kyle sent that one out to Never Never Land. But he had enough on it to bring it back. So hey, good shot. And another Rucker Ripper by Tony. And this guy's putting on a clinic today. Landon hooks through the nose and leaves the 3-6. Carson waits until the coast is clear before he steps up on the approach. This young man says he wants to be an architect when he grows up. Good for you. Right now, I think he'd just like to get his first strike of the match. But he need wait no longer. That was a good one. Oh my. Chop suey for Landon, and their 30-pin lead that they started the match with is now down to just one stick. Halfway through the match. If they're going to win this match, they're going to have to do it on their own the rest of the way. Boy, it looked like he pulled it, but it just held in the oil, and with the speed he puts on it, it just never moved. And yet somehow it cut through and left a stone 9. Well, this guy has the tender touch with the bowling ball. Billy Whaley used to talk about that. And I'm telling you, I haven't seen anybody this gentle with the bowling ball put such fierce stuff on it in a long while. There's a spare for Kyle, but with that last strike that Tony threw, the lead has changed hands. It is now Tony Rucker and Carson Beach who hold a 9-pin advantage in this match. Carson was begging it to hold. Stay right, stay right. You saw him motioning. It did. And now he gets a double to extend their lead to 19. There's that light shaker action that Landon was hoping to see again. We'll take another look at it here. He has a big push away out to the right. Big tall backswing. He's a planter, not a slider. Gets that out to about 10 at the break point. Hit him thin and watch him spin. Oh baby, I'll take one of those every time. Ringing 10. He even got a wiggle out of the 10. And he cannot believe that didn't go. Little light that time. Tony just missed his mark by a bit. Hey, you can't strike on every shot. Kyle for the spare. 20 miles an hour at that one. That's fast. A little different way of doing it for Tony, but just as effective. Boy, that was a pretty good shot. Landon just squeezed the head pin a little too much and leaves the 4. Let's look at his unorthodox footwork. He takes a big crossover step to the left, and then he kind of drifts back to the right some. Over the third arrow, out to about 12 at the break point, and that was close. That was real close. Oh, wow. Haven't seen one like that in a while. Through the nose, and something rolls the 3-pin forward. Gotta love it. Easy cover for Landon of the 4-pin. This is no time to be committing any unforced errors and surrendering pins unnecessarily. Here's that strike that Carson got a moment ago. Watch the ball. It's going to hit squarely on the head pin. The head pin is horizontal and gets the 6, and then it spins around, and from behind the head pin rolls out the 3-pin. How about that? Well, a little quitter 10 there. That 6-pin just laid down in the gutter and said, I'm done. Well, Tony cut that one a little short. Goes through the nose. Lucky that he didn't leave a split. It's just the 6-pin. Ooh, Kyle kind of pulled that one forward. You saw his right shoulder kind of outrace his left when it got to release. And when that happens, you're going to miss left every time. There's a conversion by Tony, and the lead is now 40 pins for Tony and Carson. Landon through the nose. Gives up another couple of pins in count. It seems like just as his partner Tony stops striking, Carson catches fire and starts striking. That's what we call ham and egging it. When one guy has a rough spot, the other guy's there to pick him up. And they have ridden that formula to a 52-pin lead as we head to the 9th frame. And to think the Stoddards began with a 30-pin cushion. Wow. Boy, he shredded the rack that time. Taking a little frustration out on the pins, I'd say. I'll tell you who Tony Rucker reminds me of a little bit. A pro from a long time ago. Joe Joseph. I know a few of our viewers will remember that name. He was a pro back in the 50s and 60s. Smooth, smooth, smooth. Good strike by Landon there. But they're kind of running out of frames here. Here's that strike that Kyle Stoddard threw a moment ago. Hits the half pocket. That 5 just whistles over into the 7. That is the quintessential power strike. Oh, and there's a little trippy action. Carson gets the 4 to go. Watch this. Here's the trip 4. This is the right-hander's best friend. He's got that ball on the 5th board at the 43-foot mark. It's almost squarely on the nose, but watch the 2-pin. It's going to go to the left wall, slip between the 7, and then eventually it gets the 4. Thank you very much. You love to get those. All right, let's see if the Stoddards can put on a big gallop to the finish line here at the end. No. Oh, the 7 won't go, and that's going to make it very difficult for them. And Tony is locked in again. He's made the adjustment on both lanes, and now they have a 72-pin lead, and, well, it is a virtual certainty now that Tony and Carson are going to win this match, unless they throw the rest of their balls in the gutter and Kyle and Landon strike the rest of the way. You never know. That's why they play these things out to the very end. You never know. One of the teams could be abducted by extraterrestrials here in the next few minutes. I'm not so sure Tony isn't an extraterrestrial the way he's bowling. It's otherworldly. 275 the first match. Now he's in the 260s, and he just put this match in the W column for himself and Carson. Yep, he looks a lot like Joe Joseph to me. I know some of our old-timers watching know who Joe Joseph was. He was a heck of a player, that's for sure. And he had the ladies at his beck and call at every tour stop. 228 by Kyle. That's a pretty credible showing. But it's not enough today to stop the Rucker and Beach Express. .275 his first game, and then he backs it up with a 264. Not bad. There's a stone solid strike by Landon. His first double of the match. He's got to be wondering, where has that been this game? He threw a bunch of them in qualifying. Another trip 4 for Carson. It's like everything he throws comes up golden. Big pull shot that time. That is the one thing about that big high backswing that I would try to get him to lower it if I was coaching him. Had the same thing with Christian Manel in Georgia. It's just hard to control the ball. I know with Christian it was a product of him learning to bowl that way when he was young. When he was 5 years old, he was taking that 6-pound ball, which must have felt like it was 50 pounds, and had to yank it up just to get it to the top of the swing. And so he just continued that action as he grew, and it just turned into that gigantic backswing. But a more controllable swing would be more like shoulder high, and you'd get plenty of power. But it's a 490 to 405 victory for the team of Tony Rucker and Carson Beach. And now they've won the first 2 matches in the stepladder and find themselves bowling for the championship against our tournament leaders, Rhett Ryman and Wes Edwards. Next. Earlier in the day, all the players in all 5 divisions bowled 5 games of qualifying. The A squad bowled in the morning, the B squad in the afternoon. And in Division 1, here's how it all shook out. At the top of the show, you saw that we had a tie for the 4th position in the stepladder, and Carson Beach threw 4 strikes to advance past Colby Lovegren. That snapped Colby's streak of making the stepladder on every single Division 1 show we'd done since moving to Kansas City. You also see the names of several other players who have graced the screen with their presence. All the Prodigy alums are noted by the tiny Prodigy logo next to their names. A few former winners there, including Colby, Fiona West, Davis Best, and Antonio Miranda. And now, today, we're going to add another name to our list of first-time winners on Prodigy Bowlers Tour, as both Carson Beach and Rhett Ryman are seeking their first championship on Prodigy Bowlers Tour. In that second match that you just watched, Carson's adult partner, Tony Rucker, took control early, stringing 5 strikes in the first 6 frames and backing up the 275 he shot in match 1 with a 264 in the second match. And then Carson caught fire in the second half of the match, putting together a 6-bagger of his own, and the stunned Stoddards never knew what hit them. It was a dominating performance by Carson and Tony, but I know it won't stop Landon Stoddard from continuing to knock on the door in future KCOs. You know, in our first 2 matches today, the team giving more pins in handicap than they were getting, Carson and Tony, managed to overcome the handicap differential to win. And now in the championship match, they'll be getting more pins than they're giving. Tony Rucker is getting 17 pins in handicap, while Rhett Ryman's adult partner, Wes Edwards, isn't getting any pins. So it'll be interesting to see if Carson and Tony can continue their domination to run the stepladder and take top honors, or if Rhett and Wes can stop their opponent's march to the top. While Rhett is making his first appearance on Prodigy Bowlers Tour, he's been close before. We've seen his name among the leaders during qualifying rounds, but until today, he wasn't quite able to take advantage of a strong start to his qualifying round and finish it out to make the show. But today, Rhett Ryman finds himself and his partner Wes in the top spot, with just 1 match separating them from the championship. But they will have to get past a red-hot team of Tony Rucker and Carson Beach. He's stuck at the line. You saw him look down at his feet, but he gets away with it. It's a strike, albeit a Brooklyn strike. And now Wes Edwards with a very short approach. He's 3 or 4 feet in front of the 12-foot dots. And a flat 10 to start. But keep an eye on this guy. He has really got game. Flat 10 for Carson as well. Wes Edwards' confirmed average to enter this tournament, 238. He has an 876 to his credit. This guy can really bowl. Makes short work of the 10-pin. Love the technique, going straight at it. No, man. Carson using every board to get the 10-pin. But it's not how, it's how many, and that counts too. And now Rhett Ryman. Rhett finished 8th last month at the November Kansas City Open. He was 3rd after the morning block of qualifying, but dropped down to 8th and missed the stepladder. Goes high with that one, leaving a 6. He has a league average of 219. Says he wants to be a structural engineer or maybe a pro bowler when he grows up. Hey, it's good to keep your options open. got started bowling at the age of 7 when his grandma took him bowling. Easy conversion of the 6-pin. This should be a very interesting match. Wes and Rhett can both really bring it. And Tony and Carson have been on fire and are lined up on this pair of lanes. So I expect the sparks to fly. Tony with a strike in the second for the first double of the match. Takes that little backward step like Pete Weber. I used to do the same thing when I was bowling. It helps a player who doesn't like to start on the right foot, but it's really like a 6-step delivery, so it's really like starting with the right foot, except you take that first step with the left backwards. There you go. But it's unusual to take that many steps. He takes essentially a 6, maybe you call it a 7-step delivery from only about 9 feet away from the foul line. Very unusual, but man, is it effective when he does it. Timber! Carson gets a light shaker to go. Wow. There was shrapnel flying around that time. Rhett Ryman has 4 tournament victories to his credit. He's got a KCO. He's won a Heart of America, which is another tournament series held here in the Kansas City area. He won the Salute to Veterans tournament, and he won the Pepsi. So he knows what it takes to get to the winner's circle. Wow. That just sucked him off the pin deck like a vacuum sweeper. Tell you what, with the 2 adults we've got here, this is kind of old school versus new school. Tony's got the old 50s and 60s stroker style, and Wes has a very modern power game. They can both be very effective even today. Again, you'll notice we've got Tony's handicap pins added into his first frame. You start with 3 strikes. Normally you would have 30 in the first, but those 17 handicap pins are added in. Little light. Rhett comes up short, leaves the 2. And Carson's right there with another strike to increase his team's lead to 48. Wow. They've come out on fire. I mean, are you surprised the way they've been bowling? Not really. Easy cover. Rhett has a 300 to his credit. He's also bowled a 787. That's his high series. Meanwhile, his adult partner, Wes Edwards, claims as one of his tournament wins a doubles event that he won. His partner was PBA star Brian Goebel. And I imagine he threw a lot of shots like that to win it. Oh, take that, you Stone 9 wannabe. Tony Rucker, perfect through 4 frames. Now, Rhett Ryman up on lane 1. He claims as his best moment in bowling when he shot 300 during his high school bowling season. Throwing strike after strike that looked a lot like that, I would guess. Oh, Carson got away with one that time, and he knows it. But hey, they're not giving out style points, so you just take it and run. All right, here's that strike that Rhett threw just a moment ago. Out to about 5 at the break point and, well, 10 back. We might see a lot of those this match out of any one of these players. Wes is taking a re-rec. You see that 3-pin is sitting off spot. It's a little close to the head pin. That's what we call a tight pocket, and that is begging to leave a 10-pin, and I would re-rack it too. And actually, we're getting racks like that on lane 1 rather frequently. But it isn't stopping Tony. All right, Wes trying to build on this string of strikes he started. Oh, he shakes him up. Man, I love watching good bowlers bowl. If you want to know if there's a secret how to get better, it's watching and bowling against really good bowlers. When you get to see them up close and personal, you really learn a lot. Carson buries one in the pocket. He thought that was going to drift high, but it didn't. It set perfectly. And so he and Tony are now 9 out of 10 in the first 5 frames. We'll get another look at that strike that Carson just threw. He will gesture with his right hand, stay right, stay right, stay right. It did just enough. Well, a 68-pin lead for Tony and Carson. I'd say Wes and Rhett have their work cut out for them. Boy, Rhett slapped out the 10-pin. He had that narrow pocket that we saw earlier. Wes decided to re-rack, but Rhett took his chances with it. See how the 3-pin is sitting a little closer to the head pin than it is the 6? And yet he shot at it anyway. And that 6-pin just goes to the wall and then comes back and tomahawks out the 10. That's what you hope to see. All right, Wes has got 3 in a row. Would love to get a 4th right here. Well, he cut that one short, and it just never got as wide as some of his better shots. He leaves the 6-10. Could have been worse. Could have been a split. Well, I could say the same thing for Tony. That's the first non-strike he's thrown this match, and it goes through the nose, and he only leaves the 4-7. So I'd say both players got away with one there. Straight at the 6-10, and down they go. Tony and Carson continue to lead by 58. There's a spare. Reminder once again, the action to our right is Division 2. We'll let you know how their stepladder plays out at the end of the show. Red has a double working, so he can cut into that lead if he can post another strike right now. Wow. He just buried that one. Those pins had no chance. He would have knocked down 5-pound pins that time. Carson's got a double up as well. Oh. Well, we've seen him 2 or 3 times now motioning with his right hand, stay right, stay right. He did it again there, and this time the ball didn't listen. And I'm telling you, the first time the ball starts to crowd the head pin, don't wait for it to go through the nose before you move. Move before it goes through the nose so you avoid these situations. Now he's got a virtually unmakeable split. The 4-6-7, there's not much you can do with this other than just take the 2 on the left, throw it hard, hope something bounces out. It almost never does. But you never know. Carson doesn't really throw it hard enough to bounce him out very often. So that's an open frame, and their lead shrinks. It's now 33. Still a substantial lead. But they had it almost to 70 earlier. Four frames left. Still anybody's ball game. And I tell you what, this guy, Tony Rucker, I'm so impressed with him. He just rides that oil line. He just floats that ball out there, lets it find friction, and then it just rolls right up to the pocket and just steamrolls the pins without a lot of speed. Wow. He just makes those pins disintegrate. Unbelievable power. I can see why Rhett chose him to be his partner. That was probably the easiest decision he made. Now we get down to pressure cooker time, and everybody's jaw tightens just a little bit. Man, he is just throwing quality shot after quality shot. That's a good shot too. Could have been that bad rack. Again, he had that tight pocket. When that happens, if you hit in the half pocket, that 3-pin just doesn't hit the 6 at the angle it's supposed to. And sometimes that 6 just lays in the channel, and that's what happened to Carson there. Oh no. Well, he missed that 10-pin by almost 20 feet. That ball was in the gutter, right at or just past the far tracers, which are 43 feet. Goodness gracious. Well, I feel for him. That could be nerves. That could just be hearing the pitter-pat of Rhett Ryman and Wes Edwards' big feet coming down the approach at him. Carson's never been in this situation before. But he's got a rock as a partner, and that's what you need in this situation. Somebody to steady the ship, encourage Carson, just hang in there. We'll be there at the end. They still have a 22-pin lead. Wes a little wide with that one and leaves the 2. That one just got away from him.
All right, Sunday night mixed 11 through 32. We'll get started for 15 minutes practice.
Well, that's a little disconcerting to have the PA announcer start talking right as you're about to release the ball, but there's a league about to start off to our right. And that's what that's all about. All right, Carson up on the right lane. Another high shot for Carson. He needs to move his feet left, probably move his eyes left as well. I know you get down to these final frames and it's hard to convince yourself. You got to move after this line has been working, but that's what bowling's about. You got to be adaptable. Wow. Another powerful strike by Rhett Ryman. That's 5 in a row, and they have winnowed the lead down to just 12 pins. Carson covers the spare. He's still got his partner Tony with a double working, and Tony's been money all day. The question is, in the next 2 frames, can they get this 12-pin lead or any part of it across the finish line, knowing that Wes and Rhett are coming for them? This is what makes match play in bowling so exciting. Oh no! Tony goes through the nose and leaves the 4, 7, 10. And what a time for this. Well, it is puckering time now. Wes Edwards with a spare up. Oh, another thin one, and he shakes him up. Of course, that's what a power player can do. Tony's got to make this split to maintain the lead. But he just goes for the count. That wasn't as close as it may have looked. That 7-pin was well behind the 10. 9 out, and the lead has passed from Tony and Carson to Wesley and Rhett. And we're down to the bottom of the 9th. Runners in scoring position. And this is anybody's ball game. Oh, Rhett narrowly avoids disaster. He trusted that one way out to the right. Nearly left the 2-8-10. Carson measures it perfectly. Gets a solid strike in the 9th. And now he also has a foundation strike heading into the 10th. Wow. And I'll tell you what, don't sleep on this 2-8. Oh! He almost ran past the center of the 2-pin. You do that and you send that 2-pin to the right of the 8. Oh man, that was close. Watch this. You don't want that ball to pass the center of the face of the 2. It actually does by just a little bit. And that, oh, see, it heads to the right and just nicks the 8. He very nearly missed that. That would have been disaster. Watch his reaction. He knows he was in trouble. Got away with it. Yeah. He knows he escaped that time. It's okay. They lead by 1 heading into the 10th frame. Oh, and the very first frame of the very first game, Tony tripped the 4 into the 9 for a strike. He would have loved to have done it again right there. Wes, with a strike up in the 9th, can extend his team's lead to 11 with another one right here. But it is not to be. Another one just a little wide, just like in the 8th frame. He leaves the 2, an easy spare, doesn't lose any count. It's a spare for Tony. And assuming Wes makes this 2-pin, which I think is a safe assumption, This is going to come down to the two youth bowlers. As it should for the championship, I think. That's why they've got them bowling anchor. I love a close finish. There's another one. Tony the Ripper. 275, 264, 250. Not a bad day's work. Carson, you picked wisely your partner. There's a strike for Wes. He finishes with 217. Seems rather pedestrian in comparison, but it may be enough. We'll see at the end. There's his footwork. He takes that backwards first step with his left foot, then does that power move to the left. He's a planter, not a slider. Throws it over 19, out to about 7. And down they go. Baby. All right, Carson, a strike here would be huge. Oh, no. Through the nose, and now he's got a difficult little split, the 310. Not the most difficult split you could have, but man, you don't want this. And Rhett goes through the nose, leaves the 6. Maybe a little nerves for these two, who knows? But this match is all even. Wow. All right, Carson, you gotta make this one. And he does. Well, that was clutch. Wow. And Rhett, you gotta make this one. I wasn't as worried about that one, but we're down to the final ball. Each player will get one shot now that will decide this match, either to determine a winner or that we're going to extra frames. 9 for Carson, so Rhett knows what he needs. A strike to win. 9 would send it to a roll-off. 8, oh, you don't even want to think about that. Oh, he knew it was good as soon as it got past the tracers. That was the winning ball. Rhett Ryman throws the key strike in the 10th frame to win the Kansas City Open December Youth Adult Doubles Tournament in Division I by 1 pin. Watch the winning ball right here. When a player throws it that good, he knows as soon as it leaves his hand, it has a chance. Rhett knew after that ball passed the tracers that it was probably going to strike. He throws his hands up in celebration, and there is no better feeling in bowling than that right there. The sweet taste of victory. And Rhett Ryman congratulates his partner, Wes Edwards. Accepts congratulations from his opponents. Tony shakes Wes's hand, and I think even the vanquished knew that Wes and Rhett would be there at the end. It's a 1-pin victory, 454 to 453 for these two guys. Rhett Ryman and Wes Edwards will get him to sign the coveted trophy pin next.
Help! Get me out of here! It's cold in here! It's snowing! Help! I'm freezing my teeth in here!
Talk about a white-knuckle thrill ride. The team of Carson Beach and Tony Rucker were up 60 pins at one point in that match. But Rhett Ryman and Wes Edwards just would not give up. And therein lies a lesson for every young player. You just never know what your opponent is going to do. just when you thought Carson Beach would keep striking, he was on a 4-bagger at the time, after all. He goes through the nose, leaving a 4-6-7, leading to an open frame. And then Carson followed that with a missed 10-pin, and that 60-pin lead was down to 12, and it was game on. Then Rhett Ryman got the hot hand, and by the time we were approaching the finish line, it was anybody's match. In the end, it was Rhett Ryman who made the clutch strike in the 10th frame to claim victory. But boy, Carson and Tony had a day, didn't they? Tony certainly did his part, firing games of 275, 264, and 250. That's a 3-game total of 789, 738 scratch. Not bad. And Carson's 620 set for 3 games was nothing to sneeze at. But it was Wes Edwards' 217 and Rhett Ryman's 237 that proved to be the winning numbers today, by a single pin. Oh, and they have one more pin left to deal with today.
1-pin victory. Do those count for a full victory?
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah. He struck.
I think so.
He struck the field ball to win.
You threw the decisive shot?
Yeah.
Were you nervous?
Well, I only knew it for about a second. His last shot, he left 9. I saw that there was 17. They had 17 pins of handicap on us. I knew I had to strike. Threw the best shot I could.
And the rest, as they say, is rock and roll history.
Uh-huh.
Nice going.
Thank you.
And what about you? What did you contribute today?
I was a pony on the horse.
There you go.
I was the pony on the horse.
Well, it looks to me like you had a pretty good horse to ride. Rhett, I've had my eyes on you for a while because when I do this show, it seems like every month I'm reading the scores of the qualifiers, and there's Rhett Ryman right near the top, and he's like leading after the first round, and then he just barely drops out. And this time you made it, and boy, did you make it count. So congratulations. We have a little tradition on Prodigy Bowlers Tour. The winner on each episode gets to sign the coveted trophy pin.
Anywhere?
Anywhere. Put your name on it and date it. December 4th, 2022. You'll sign it too, Wes. And then all of our youth bowlers who win on the show during the season and therefore sign the pin are invited back at the end of the season to bowl in our Prodigy Bowlers Tour Tournament of Champions, where the winner is awarded the pin. So you're now, you've stamped your ticket to the tournament, and you guys bowled great all day today. Congratulations.
The last 3 was good. We went like 505 game 5, and then we went 550 game 6. So no, 505 game 4, 550 game 5. So we were 250 over for 2 games, which really helped us get to the lead.
I would guess it would. You bowling high school bowling next month?
Yeah, my tryouts are Tuesday this week, and then after that, I'm January.
So we're not going to see you at the KCO for a while.
Nope. 2 months I'm out.
So we'll see you in what, March maybe?
Yeah.
All right. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Good luck in high school bowling, and we'll see you soon.
All right.
There are your winners.
As we mentioned, the action on our right on lanes 3 and 4 today was Division 2. Here's how their stepladder played out today. In the opening match, the 4 seeds, Camden McAndrews and Bobby Reber, upset the 3 seeds, Nicholas Robbins and Joel Robbins, 434 to 371. In match 2, Camden and Bobby continued their stellar play, defeating Braxton Burnow and James Wagoner, 428 to 391. And in the championship match, Camden McAndrews and Bobby Reber made it a clean sweep, running the stepladder by defeating the tournament leaders Trey Donath III and Ethan Cowan in a close match, 446 to 438. So congratulations to Camden McAndrews and Bobby Reber for winning the Division II title today. As we highlighted on our last episode, the Division III winners were Emma Reese and Jason Reese. You saw Luke Gramling and Nicole Orlando win all 3 matches to claim the Division 4 crown on episode 135. And in Division 5, Shane Schoenhofer and Randy Schoenhofer took top honors. And of course, our Division 1 champions on today's show are Rhett Ryman and Wesley Edwards, who captured the championship in a thrilling 1-pin victory. For the January Kansas City Open, we return to Royal Crest Lanes in Lawrence, Kansas. That tournament is scheduled for Sunday, January 8th. We'll be there to cover Division 1 and one other division yet to be named. If you want to bowl in it, or just want to learn more about the Kansas City Open, visit their website at www.kansascityopen.com. And I guess that's a wrap for 2022. So here's wishing you the happiest of holiday seasons. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, a joyous Kwanzaa, a festive Festivus for the rest of us. And of course, as always, I wish you a terrific Toyota-thon. And of course, Happy New Year. So until we meet again in 2023, this is Coach Randy coming to you from Olathe Lanes East in Olathe, Kansas, reminding you to bundle up, stay warm, and wishing you to trip out all your 4s and snap out all your 10s. Now, go get your bowl on.